Hi, this is my October book haul. As you can tell, I'm still behind on schedule. I've got a nice variety of stuff that I got in October, but I'm going to start it off with some different YA titles. First of all, I went to a very special event for Veronica Roth's brand new book, Carve the Mark. Now, Veronica Roth wrote the Divergent series, which I really enjoyed reading, although I do have to admit I have not read the final one yet. And this is her new book. It's going to be out in January. I'm not allowed to say that much about it. Also, I've never had a proof before where it says uncorrected proof on every single page, like through the letters. The proof version is sort of like American floppy one, if that makes sense, which I love. Now, what I can tell you is that Carve the Mark is part of a duology and it is set in space. We actually got to chat to Veronica a little bit over Skype. You might remember that I interviewed her before at one of the Divergent press junkets. She is absolutely lovely and terrifyingly my age. One of the questions I asked her was, why space? To which she answered, space, the final frontier. And also, as one of her inspirations, she mentioned Firefly, so I'm quite excited. The next YA one I have is Wing Jones. I probably already had this when I did my last haul, but I forgot about it because it went directly on my to-read pile. This is written by Katherine Weber, and this is the story of Wing Jones, who I was convinced before I read the blurb would be a boy, but it's actually a girl who has a grandmother from China and a grandmother from Ghana and feels like she's often sort of like stuck between two worlds, and it also involves something running related. This is also out in January. If I can get my shit together, maybe I can actually read some January releases and then do a video before January. The next one, which I'm not actually entirely sure is a YA book, it may or may not be, it doesn't have the title on the front. The 12 Lives of Samuel Hawley. Now, I saw that some of these proof copies actually went out with a little meme sticker on the back saying when the title of a book changes the day after the proofs come in, but I'm pretty sure this is the correct title. If it isn't, I'll put it in the description. This one's got some nice stars on the cover, but I like when it has a quote or a description of the book instead of the title. And this one says, one part Quentin Tarantino, one part, oh god, I don't know how to pronounce that, Scheherazade? I feel like I know how to pronounce it in Dutch, but not in English. And 12 parts Wild Innovation. It says that Samuel Hawley has 12 scars on his body to mark 12 bullets from his criminal past, which then eventually also spills into his daughter's presence. It says it's a coming-of-age novel and a literary thriller. This isn't out until April 2017, so we've got a while to go. Now onto some Dutch literature. I mean, just one book. It is The Evenings by Gerard Reve, in Dutch also called The Avonden, which means the same thing. This is a book that I think most Dutch people will have heard about. It's recently been translated and I was sent this lovely copy, and I was reading the description on the back, and even though I feel like this book is so just like around in the social consciousness, the descriptions of this really surprised me. I didn't think that this was what it was about. Both of the quotes on the back say that it's really funny, and the description says it's darkly funny. I have never heard of it being described as funny, and I think maybe the reason that I didn't think it would be funny is because it was one of the books that a lot of people read in school for the official reading in Dutch class. So now I'm thinking I might just have the complete wrong impression of this book just because you know how sometimes books sort of get ruined for you in school even though you don't even read them. So yeah, I'm very much willing to give this one a go. It's about a 23-year-old guy called Frits. It's set during 10 evenings at the end of December, and I know every year lots of Dutch people will read this during those 10 days, so I might give that a go. Oh, and I think it's also set right after the Second World War. Then you might remember that when I did a currently reading video with Rosianna, she showed a gorgeous book written by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and Fourth Estate was kind enough to send me two in like their new editions, which are gorgeous. This is The Thing Around Your Neck, and this is Purple Hibiscus. Not a lot I can say about them at the moment though, because I haven't read them yet. So then the final two, both of these I got at events. I went to a preview evening at Faber. If you follow me on Snapchat, Books and Quills, you'll have seen sort of the full haul from the event because we've got lots of amazing proof copies, but I figured I would share with you the one that I'm looking forward to reading most, and it is Future Sex by Emily Witt. I love that the description on the back is printed like this. It says, I was single, straight, and female. When I turned 30, I still envisioned my sexual experience eventually reaching a terminus, like a monorail gliding to a stop. Two things about this book. It's dedicated to her parents, which is interesting for a book about sex, and some of the chapters are called Internet Dating, Burning Man, Birth Control, and Reproduction. Just a little taster. And then finally, this year I read my first Jeanette Winterson book, Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, which I don't think I've discussed in a video yet, but I will do soon. Absolutely loved it. So I'm moving on to some more Jeanette Winterson. This one is Written on the Body. This is part of a really nice set of editions by Vintage. I know Jeanette Winterson has written a lot. I'm also reading like my first Margaret Atwood, for example, and I'm really curious to sort of read more books by the same author to see how they compare and contrast, because I know a lot of people will sometimes read like 5 books by the same author and have like really strong preferences. So yeah, this is the next one. If you want to read more about it, I'll put a link in the description. Alright, so that was it. As usual, I'd love to hear if you've already read any of these books, or if you're planning on reading any, let me know in a comment, and I will talk to you guys later. Doei!